Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to kind of get one out this morning. I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you enjoyed the weather we're having back and forth. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's hot. It was a little cold over the weekend, so I liked it. I actually like it a little bit cooler myself. But I hope you guys had a nice weekend and hope you guys are still on your plan, purpose. We're getting close to 920 days, something like that, so of no fap, and we're, monk mode, still doing pretty good, over 100 and some days now, 115, 20 days, I think it is. We'll keep going, see what happens. Monk mode's the hardest, obviously, to keep going, but we'll keep our streaks going and see if we can try to kind of keep moving ahead. But the thing is, guys, that the temptation's all around you. And you're going to have temptation, and I've gotten great emails. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for the 1,000 subscribers. KTEE, thank you especially for your 1,000. But all you guys, wonderful. I also got a couple, one note at least, indicating that we probably shouldn't be spending so much time on shout-outs and names. And that's probably true. I mean, I do spend a lot of time. I try to only do it once a week if I can. But by the time I do it, I can probably devote a whole show to all the great people who are shouting, to who are making comments and making some good comments and things like that. So I'll try to kind of limit the amount of time I put on devoted to shout outs, but I try to only do it once a week, only because I want to make sure that we're really kind of focusing on things that are happening well with all of you guys and doing that. So I appreciate all the great comments and all the feedback and donations and all that. So keep going, guys. And certainly, I had a question from someone contacted me and said, am I going to go ahead and monetize? And I probably won't do that. At least for a while. Obviously, if we get a lot of people, I will, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, I don't want to put ads on this necessarily. I'd rather just talk and have guys get in for good information from this. So I'm doing it really more for that reason than anything else. Certainly, if we get to the point where we have a lot of people on channel, and I get a lot of people asking about it, maybe we'll do more with it. But at this point, I just want to kind of keep going and get the message out. All right, so when we're talking about this, let's talk about a topic that Eduardo put together. Eduardo, shout out to you, my friend. I think it's a great topic. Let's talk about, especially in this day and age. And what we're talking about is how to deal with masculine women under semen retention. Now, you may say, well, Vigor Warriors too. What are masculine women? Well, we see a lot of them. We see a lot of them, and especially nowadays, because society is pushing us to a different type of viewpoint and looking at all the stuff in the media. You can see, movies, Marvel movies, and movies, focusing on the strength of women, all these type of things that men used to have in the roles, stereotypical roles, especially in society, now are being pushed, and talked about for women. And so there's a lot of women who've had positions, and so a lot of times what happens is that they have masculine energy, and they try to use masculine energy. Now, whether that masculine energy is strong enough or if it's something that is going to be effective is really up to the individual. But each of us has energy. Now, a lot of times what ends up happening is that we tend to not focus on the type of energy that would be, either masculine or feminine, depending if you're male or female. But what happens is that a lot of females, and mainly because there's a lot of beta males out there, and because beta males have decided to take a beta role, which means they're not in leadership positions, they're not leading the families, they're not leading women, they're not leading anything, then basically women have had to then step up and take those roles. And so there's a lot of women I know who are very masculine in their approach, their attitude, and not sometimes energy-wise, sometimes not. It just depends. They're acting as masculine males would act, and it's because they're feeling they have to do that. Especially some guys when you're dealing with like single moms and people who have to do both roles, and I feel for those people, but they act in those ways. And so it is a good question to ask, and Eduardo makes a good point that males and females have this type of energy. Now, a lot of times what happens to males is that if they lose their energy and they're, kind of releasing all the time, then they become a lot less confident, and they become a lot more beta male. And actually, then they defer roles, defer decisions. And so, a person who can't make decisions, tends to be more of a beta male because they want other people to make those kind of decisions. And we're talking about males here. From a female standpoint, I think females, because they've had to take those roles on, have decided that, okay, I have to take the masculine role. So they'll act in a certain way where they'll act, angry, or they'll act in a certain way to try to get across that they can be just as effective with this as males can. But the trouble with all of this is the fact that it comes off a lot of times as being very pushy, and it comes off as being kind of arrogant, and so you have to kind of deal with this under retention. Now, what does this mean to you under retention when you see a woman like this? Well, you have to kind of think about this a little bit. But let's think in terms of our situation, our energy level. When we talk about energy level, we're talking about a person who is at full strength, and they're getting stronger each day. And as they get stronger each day, they end up becoming a lot less impervious to these type of things. Stress doesn't bother them as much. Other people, they can look them straight in the eye. They have great confidence with that. And they're not really that willing to kind of break eye contact because they're very strong when it comes to that type of eye contact. In fact, people will look at them and stare at people on retention. And so you have to learn how to develop that eye contact and that confidence level because people see that in you all the time. Now, when it comes to dealing with women who are masculine in their nature, just remember that you're going to have some pushback because the masculine females will react to you. They may not even like you in some cases, and that's very possible. But because we see such a prevalence of this in society, we have to be aware of this and be aware how to communicate with women who are aggressive types of assertive types of women. And a lot of that happens, then it's kind of up to you then to react to that. And as I said, under semen retention, your thoughts are a lot different. You're not thinking about, intercourse. You're not thinking about, having sex with someone right away. You're not thinking about those things. You're thinking about doing your own thing. And you'll garner respect, even for women who are masculine in nature and in what their nature is currently. And they're going to go ahead and do that. Which reminds me of a point that Optical Man said. And when I'm talking about women chasing men, I have seen rare cases that this happens, actually chasing them down the street. But those are kind of more of the combination of movie stars and musicians, things like that. But what I mean really is a lot of people have mentioned in their responses is the signals that they're giving. And let's be honest about it. A lot of times that we think that the male is chasing the female, it's really the other way around. The female will give you a notice if they're interested. Very rarely do men go up to women unless they think the woman is interested. Most females will give that sign, whether it's an eye stare, a look, or whether it's some sort of touch. Something is getting that person to be attracted to you. You can sense the attraction. And then therefore, that's when a lot of males kind of make their move and do that. But it's a lot of times the women are the ones telling you. And let's face it, a lot of women in their 20s, they can get a pick of any kind of guy they want. By the time they get in the 30s, however, then things change. And so as a few people mentioned, the signals that you're getting from women in their 30s are a lot different, but they're becoming there because they realize the pool of men are not as strong out there once they hit 30. And what happens then is that they give the signals out to males who are more receptive to pick those up. But we're talking not necessarily literally chasing people down the street, but we're talking about that women will be more, they will be more apparent. I don't know the word I'm looking for here, but it's more obvious that they're interested in you because you'll see a lot of behaviors you wouldn't see before. And at first, it really becomes very awkward, as we talked about. Now, on top of that, you may even get some masculine females who are also interested in you. Excuse me, get my nose here. But, excuse me. So the thing about it is, as we look at this, you have to kind of think to yourself, okay, how do I respond to something like this? And the main thing you have to realize is that women will respect you no matter what. You're on retention. Now, they may not necessarily like it. They may respond to you in a different way, but they respect that type of thing because you're holding in your seed. You're using self-control. They see that, and they sense that. Now, they may, and like as males do sometimes, they may be jealous. They may get upset. But down deep inside of all women and men, there's that biological nature. And they recognize when a male is a male, a man is a man. And they recognize when a woman should be feminine. Now, if it's the same thing as the opposite, males are too feminine. You could see this standing out like a sore thumb, and it doesn't seem right. It just seems really awkward. And this is why when you kind of look at people, you have to kind of look at them and say, okay, what kind of aura are they giving out? And so they may talk a good game, they may talk masculine, but really when you look at their energy, they may not be masculine at all. And they may be looking for somebody who is a strong masculine man. And that's when you become on your semen retention. But again, we go back all of this. I know I spent the week talking about women attraction, but the idea, my friends, is that this is not why we're doing this. We're doing this because you want to become a better person and that you want to get closer to God. These are the reasons that I hope you're doing this. Certainly, you're going to get attraction. And for those who are looking for a partner, that's a great way to kind of understand who this person is. But you're going to run into women here, as Eduardo's talking about, that have sometimes strong masculine attitudes. But being strong on semen retention puts you in that category of the strong masculine male. And it does directly oppose a lot of these women out there who think a certain way about men in these movements we had since the 1970s. And so, as you look at this, they're going to respond back to you. But hold your ground. Continue to do those things. Now, sometimes these people will complain, well, this is toxic and all this other kind of stuff. But masculinity is something that is needed in the society. You need to have strong masculine males. I mean, females can be strong, but they also need to be feminine. And males need to have a little empathy as well. So there's nothing wrong with having some traits of all these things. But the thing is that your primary strength should be your masculine attitude. Your attitude should be strong. And because it's strong, then people respond back to it. You may not get always pleasant responses back. Masculine females may not be happy with this. Their attitude may be they're in control, and because they may have a strong need to control, they may be upset with you. But don't lose who you are just because of that. Don't be intimidated. And I think semen retention does help with that, because you can still look masculine women in the eye, and you basically can go ahead and kind of still do your own thing. Remember, do your own thing. Don't focus on women. Focus on yourself. Focus on trying to better who you are. And focus on avoiding all these type of temptations and things you get yourself into. As we mentioned before, you should not be in semen retention. You should not be in the bars. You should not be in places where you basically can get tempted. You should not be in places where the temptation is great. And for a job, you have to kind of look at the people you're working with. If this person is going to hold it against you that you're on retention, even though they may not be able to say it and sense it, well, then you may need to look for another job. And the retention part is what we're talking about with Scott Allen. Scott was going through some difficult times, job-wise, and I hope that's getting better, by the way, Scott. But the thing is that there is a greater, in my mind, and I've been, different types of jobs, all kinds of different things over the years. There, in my mind, it's the retention journey you're on with everything else involved with it is a greater benefit than a job at a current period of time. And so don't worry if you don't get a job or you're still trying to look for a job. Stay on your retention plan. If you're on your retention plan, all the good things will happen to you because you're getting closer to God. You're also doing those type of things from a physical standpoint. It's going to benefit you, and so good things will happen to you. Once again, as you get closer to God, you get away from thinking about women all the time. Now you're looking at looking at opportunities, seeing opportunities from what they are, and you're going to see opportunities that are going to make you money and do other types of things to better your life and to bring more happiness into your life. But the joy and the thing you're getting from the Lord because you're on this journey is the most important thing. And you know you've lost it when you lose that. When you lose that and things starting to get more stressed out and things, that means you've lost something. And you can restart your system again, but just remember that you need to, every time you do that, you're losing energy, and you want to keep that energy. So Eduardo brings up some very good points talking about energy, talking about how you want to maintain your energy no matter who the person is you're talking to. You could be someone who's a micromanager. You could be someone who is just, they think they know everything, arrogant son of a gun. You can have somebody who talks down to you, who thinks males or females are all bad. They have a general stereotypical type nature. All those things are there, possible, that you meet when you meet people every day. But be strong in who you are, and be someone who is got energy galore, tons of energy. You can see that in what they're doing, and they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep going, like the Energizer Bunny, just keeps going. But that tells you that person has a lot of stored energy, and they're using it and transmuting it to something else. All right, my friends. Well, thank you, Eduardo. Shout out to you, my friend. And thank you, KTE, and everybody else who's gone ahead and subscribed. I appreciate it a great deal. We'll try to continue through our list. And like I said, I'll try to cut down the, I'm listening to you guys, as you guys are telling me, I'll try to cut down some of the shout-outs. But I do want to also mention people as we go along, so I'll probably do that time near the end of the week. Maybe I can split them up or something like that during broadcast. All right, maybe I'll spend the first minute doing that, and the rest of it will be content, but we'll see. All right, my friends, have a great day today. If I don't do another one this afternoon, I'll try to do one tomorrow morning. God bless each and every one of you guys. Thanks again for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. We'll keep going, keep battling on, and even if you relapse or you fall back, it's time to go ahead and do it again, okay? Keep trying. This is a lifestyle change, and you're going to be better off for it than if you didn't do it at all. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. God bless you guys, and battle on.